it's heart-wrenching to know that, that within 10 years that possibly one of these children could become infected with HIV.
His eyes told me that diagnosis.
Look, I don't know how long I have to live. I don't know, I'm not able to have children. I could completely understand if you want to leave and be with someone else.
This is real. This is potentially her problem because she doesn't have any idea what, her potential husband is doing right now.
I think the Positive Speakers Bureau gives us an opportunity gives me an opportunity to tell my story and share my struggle with how to find medication and how to access that within the country. I think that engaging with the Positive Speakers Bureau gives me an opportunity to communicate and engage with the community so that I can talk to these people that are coming up, young gay people, older straight people even, that can see me as not just someone who's HIV positive. I think my experience with the Positive Speakers Bureau and the one that I'm most proud of so far was going out to Campbelltown and speaking to a group of 7 young gay men that don't live in inner Sydney, that don't have gay people that they can speak to.
After all these decades, this whole life, I've actually found my calling, that it's something that I can do and that I can actually make people interested in HIV that may not have been. I know when I do my talks, I walk in and they think, oh, here's some old guy coming in talking about treatments, medication, boring. And I enjoy it. And I've got this captive audience who also seem to enjoy it. And I'm getting a really important message through as well about HIV, as well as giving them a sort of a rollicking adventure along the way. I know that there is stigma about HIV, but then I think there's moral judgments about all sorts of things in the world in general. And there'll always be people who have their prejudices. And so I feel that, as an HIV speaker, well, I'm living with it, not that person who's judging me. And so I think, well, if they've got a problem with it, that's not my problem anymore, it's their problem. And I'm dealing with my HIV as well as I can, and hopefully getting a message across to my peers or other people who are coming into the sort of world with HIV perhaps, that there is a way, if you adhere to medication, listening to your doctor and so on, it's certainly not the end of the world. You don't have to just give it up, and you can just continue on having a really decent life.
Well, living with HIV, that's a very big question. It's 3 little letters, but for me, I try not to let it rule my life. It's part of me, but it's not all of me. I just went along to see the GP and he said, seeing as you're a new patient, I'll just do a whole heap of tests. And I didn't even think to ask, what sort of tests are you doing? Silly me. I was only 21. And he called me back 2 weeks later and just put a piece of paper in front of me and he said, oh, I'm sorry, but your HIV test has come back positive. And it had just highlighted in yellow, positive, positive, positive. When I disclose to someone, I give them a bit of information as well, but I say, and my friend so-and-so knows and so-and-so knows. So if you want someone to talk to about HIV and me, talk to them rather than gossip. And that's a way of me controlling who I disclose to.
So being diagnosed for me was a release. It was an opportunity to say, now I know what I'm dealing with and now I know where to go, because then the next question is how, why, when and where. And so the immediate question I asked the medical practitioners was, how long have I had this? When they told me 8 to 10 years, that's when my heart stopped. That's when my world stopped. You see, I have an 8-year-old little boy at home, and all I could think was, oh my goodness, was I pregnant? Did I breastfeed him and not know? that I could have made him sick. But we had him tested, and he tested negative. So that's when I could then focus on me. And as my little boy said beautifully at that moment when he was given his diagnosis, because he was part of that process, okay, now let's get mummy well.
Being HIV positive now, 26 years after I was diagnosed, it's like chalk and cheese to that initial time. I'm actually very grateful for the experiences that HIV has brought into my life, strange as that may sound. The bush has always been a special place for me, nature in general, whether that be the beach or in the middle of the bush. Whenever I feel my energy is low, something really challenging has happened, I'm dealing with some major side effects or major stressful influences in my life, it's going to those places that actually re-energizes me. What drew me to actually attach myself to the Positive Speakers Bureau was the unique work that they actually do. To have real stories being told to people, it was obvious that when people leave after a session with one of the positive speakers, they leave a different person.
My diagnosis, it was before HIV treatments. It was at the time of the epidemic when people were basically being told that they had 6 months to live. That was 1993. And I had two options: either accept that was the way HIV, the way that HIV was going to affect my life, or I had to completely ignore it and focus on something else, give myself a sense of purpose to live. I grew out of those things, and decisions had to be made again. As I grew older, I got more comfortable in being here, and today Australia is home. Even though Brazil could offer me the same care, the same protections, the same everything that Australia offers in regards to HIV, this is home.
And when I was first diagnosed in '97, I was a man who's carrying the world, holding the world up. But when I was diagnosed, my world come tumbling down. Thinking to myself, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, I'm here. But I got to get up out of this cell. So I put wheels on my motivation. And I got up, and I've done it. And I believe this, if I can do it, a lot of people out there can do exactly the same. Don't wallow in self-pity. And that if you're wallowing self-pity, then what comes on that stress and all other demands, and your history.
What motivates me to be a speaker within the Positive Speakers Bureau is about informing the broader community of the struggles and the lived experience of living with HIV. Currently I'm the only public positive Aboriginal female that speaks for the whole of New South Wales, which is quite huge for me because a lot of parents don't tend to talk about HIV or sexually transmitted diseases to their kids. For me, being in a classroom with over 100 students, it's heart-wrenching to know that within 10 years that possibly one of these children could become infected with HIV, and so my role is to try and educate them that it doesn't happen to them, and also to make them realise that just like I believed that it would never happen to me, and it did, that it could also happen to them.
I kind of had, compartmentalised being HIV positive into kind of a little box of just a cold hard reality of being a gay man in the time that I came of age. I was doing a speech at Emu Plains, and it was I remember there was one girl. She was obviously completely disconnected from the conversation, and I don't even know how it came up, but she made some comment about the fact that she would be a virgin when she got married, and because I often don't think about what I'm saying until shortly after it's come out of my mouth, said, yeah, but will your husband? And there was this moment when that kind of realization washed over her face, and she kind of realized the fact that, yeah, this is real, this is potentially her problem, because she doesn't have any idea what, her potential husband is doing right now.
The motivation for me to be a Positive Speakers Bureau member is to be able to go out there into the wider community and stand in front of them and look people in the eye and say, I'm HIV positive, I'm as human as you are. It does not give the right to anyone to prejudice or stigmatize or discriminate because I have HIV.